welcome to Bimbo Summit, the podcast where three childhood best friends talk to you about scams, grifts, flams, spooky things, UFOs, the unexplained, sexy stuff, mysteries, anything else?
I think that about covers it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm Sarah. I'm one of the people who is on this podcast.
I'm your other sexy co-host, Izzy.
I'm Dylan. I'm not sexy. I don't know.
I think you're sexy.
Thanks, Izzy.
You wear a lot of Hawaiian shirts for someone who's not sexy.
Yeah, you're wearing a Hawaiian shirt right now.
I do. I am wearing a Hawaiian shirt right now. I love Hawaiian shirts, and I've scaled down. I think I own like 7 or 8 now. But
Wow.
at one point I
day.
owned 11 Hawaiian shirts.
Real parrot head hours.
Yeah. And yes, I am a parrot head as well.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Okay, on this episode of Bimbo Summit, we are talking about, we got a couple things on the docket. We're going to talk about the Falcon Lake UFO incident suggested by power user, friend of the pod, Bethany, quite a long time ago. We're just now getting around to it. We decided to do a UFO episode today because we wanted to do something a little spooky, a little fun. UFOs are pretty hot right now. And when I asked the group, what UFO should we cover? Izzy said, pick the sexiest one.
Oh.
So that's what we're going to talk about. We got a couple UFO related calls to play. And then Dylan has some maybe unrelated, maybe not, cruise ship industry news.
Yeah. This is sort of my protest. I'm not really a UFO buff, and I just, it's not a protest necessarily. It's just sort of like, well, I don't know if I have much to add to the UFO discourse. I don't think they're out there. Maybe this will change my mind.
Let's hope.
Don't really believe in them as a concept. But, the alien UFOs, I do believe in,
Right.
people.
Drones and shit.
Yeah, drones and shit are probably real. I've never seen one.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I never seen one.
I did see some crazy military planes flying over my house the other day, and I was like, what?
What
Did
shade?
you take it personally?
I took it personally. Not like the fighter jet kind, but like the transporty kind. Like the they look like they're like chunky and like gray.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what's up with that? Anyway, this is Bimbo Summit. Not things about Dylan's house. So, sorry.
So,
Yeah.
So, Sarah, tell us about this very sexy mystery about an alien encounter.
well, I don't want to play up the sexiness too much and get your hopes up, but I will say when you said sexiest, of the ones we had discussed possibly doing, one of them was Phoenix Lights, which, there's some weird lights in Phoenix. It's a close encounter of the first kind, which is that's not too sexy. Another one took place at a high school, so I thought, it's a dangerous territory. Falcon Lake, I felt like this one's the sexiest because it's the encounter of the closest kind of all the options.
And involves a shirtless man.
And it involves a shirtless man, and boy is he sexy. Let's set the stage for you, the listener. 1967, Manitoba, Canada. Stefan Michalek, who is a Polish immigrant. He's probably seen some shit, probably been through a lot.
Starting this off very sexy. Manitoba,
very
Polish
sexy
immigrant.
stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not totally sure how old he is, but pretty old. Definitely a dad.
Hot.
One of his hobbies.
Does he have a dad bod?
Yes.
Is he strong?
Definitely. Yeah, well, all Poles are strong. We're like built for field work,
What about you, though? No offense.
Well, Sarah's not strong at all.
Yeah.
That's true. Actually, my grandmother famously was made fun of by her family for not being very good at farm work.
Oh.
They were like, Pelagia, you go do the inside stuff because you can't lift anything.
Yeah,
So-
Pelagia.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's named after a saint who later did a really famous heresy, the Pelagian heresy.
Oh.
I think he didn't believe in original sin or something like that.
Which we discussed on the last Patreon
Sounds like my kind of
exclusive
guy.
episode.
That's true. It's a controversial topic here on the pod, whether or not we're all born fucked up, which I did float as a true thing, I believe. So Stefan, he is out, in his own words, snooping in the rocks, because one of his favorite activities to do, Colin, put in a clip of him saying snooping in the rocks here.
Every weekend, in the long weekend, I usually go out in the country and snooping in the rocks.
On the weekends, he liked to go and prospect up in them Canadian hills.
Mm-hmm.
He would look for silver and quartz.
Mm-hmm. Trying to find some precious gemstones. Dylan, that's kind of your zone, right?
Yeah. Although I do think it's funny that he was looking for silver and quartz, the most common mineral in the in the Earth's crust.
Listen, he kept his hopes and dreams realistic.
No,
That's how you remained a successful prospector.
Well, no, that's what I like about him, because that tells me that he's not all about the money. He just, like, quartz is pretty. It's not worth any money whatsoever. Like, it's just like, I mean, he just wanted a shiny rock, and you know what? I respect that.
I mean, Poles are pragmatic people, and they famously do not expect too much. You know,
Yeah.
they just want a country.
Yeah.
So Stefan, he's up there. He's doing his thing, looking around for some silver, some quartz. He is frightened by a flock of geese. And when he looks up, he sees what he describes as two cigarette-shaped things with a hump in between, which to me is like the least evocative or common sense way you could explain like a traditional UFO. Because what he also drew it, and it looks very much just like a normal flying saucer style UFO. According to him, he says, "What the hell is that?"
He just says it?
Yeah,
to no
he
one?
looks up at the sky. It's in the episode of Unsolved Mysteries that Izzy and I both watched, has a really beautiful recreation of this with a pretty talented actor playing him who did a pretty good job speaking Polish, German, and Russian and English with the Polish accent. I was pretty impressed by the quality of talent that Unsolved Mysteries 1980 whatever got. Mm-hmm. So, you know, he's baffled, and these two UFOs, one of them flies away, the other lands very close to him. He, a brave man, approaches the UFO. We will put this audio clip in here because it's simply too good to merely discuss, but it involves him yelling at the ship in a variety of languages and then calling the aliens Yankee Boy.
When the gate opened, there was a giri, 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 kind of shrieky talk like a kids in problem or something. Thinking of USA, I said, "Okay, Yankee boys.
Hey, Yankee boy.
Seems to me you are in trouble."
Yankee boy. You got troubles, I'll help you.
Wow.
He thinks that it's America doing some sort of trifling shit in Canada and interfering with his prospecting and the geese.
As we do.
Yeah.
You know,
Which we are known to do.
Our national interest supersedes the Canadian sovereignty and the rights of all prospectors, and we will frequently.
And all geese.
The CIA,
And all geese.
yeah, CIA is known for their interference in Canadian amateur rock collecting affairs. That's what they do.
Yeah,
That's right.
our geese crimes.
Geese crime.
Crimes against geese.
Yeah.
So yeah, he maintained, or he believed at the time, not a UFO, not aliens, or it is a UFO in the very literal sense of being unidentified by him. But he did not think it was extraterrestrial. He believed it to be American military technology. He goes up to the craft and he tries to touch it, but it fights back. It burns him. There's this like jet of gas or vapor that escapes from it, and it flies away.
Not only does it burn him, it lights his flannel on fire.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, lights his ass up.
And then shoots him backwards.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's all fucked up by this. He's like wandering around the forest. He's dazed. He's vomiting. It takes him 9 hours to find his way back home. He does encounter, I think, some Mounties on the way home who notice that he seems really disoriented, almost like he's drunk, but they don't smell any alcohol in him, which will become important later in the investigation.
Oh, okay.
So in the intervening days, he also says his compass needle was going crazy when he was trying to find his way home. Part of why it took him so long is because he could not navigate by compass as he was accustomed to doing because his compass was all fucked up. Clear alien shit. Mm-hmm. Famous alien shit. So he goes home and starts displaying symptoms of something that looks very much like radiation poisoning. He's really sick. He's like, he keeps puking. He has this weird like sulfur ozone smell. And crucially, he has a bunch of weird burn patterns on his chest. And this is like totally medically documented. There are many, many pictures of these burns. The burns are definitely real.
It's like a grid of 5x5 dots on his stomach.
Yeah, it looks like maybe if he did some like fashionable micro cupping.
Ugh.
But only in one little part of his stomach.
Ugh.
Yeah, and he looks fucked up. Like in the pictures, he looks really kind of dazed and like out of it and just not happy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would encourage listeners to go look up these pictures. You can look up Falcon Lake UFO incident or just Falcon Lake UFO. It will come up. But yeah, they're like very distinct and unmistakable. They don't look like anything I can think of. Like it doesn't resemble any object I'm aware of that might burn someone. So they knew the burns were burns, right? They diagnosed them right away, and they said these are not radiation burns, they're chemical burns, which is like another sort of mysterious thing. So he's really nauseous. He still kind of seems like he's sick. Slowly he starts getting better. He goes home. The weird sulfur smell persists, and his son, who is interviewed in this episode of Unsolved Mysteries, he's also obviously in the episode, so a lot of great first-person accounts. His son talks about the smell like, it, when he bathes, it doesn't go away. It's like emanating from inside of him. They do all these tests to see if he did have radiation poisoning, and they all come back negative. Any questions, thoughts so far?
I mean, I'm waiting for it to get sexy.
Well, did you see the shirtless pics? He looks pretty, like, abject.
Yeah, he looks like a burned guy.
For you?
I mean, he looks like a guy with... I mean, he's... Well, let me see.
I think the sexy part is that the UFOs are trying to get his shirt off.
Yeah.
To see what he was working with.
And this is an encounter of... I guess the traditional encounter scale is, like, 1 through 3, but some people have proposed further levels of encounter. I think this would be an encounter of the 4th kind. Maybe just the 3rd, because he like touches the craft.
What's the 2nd kind?
First is you see it up in the sky. 2nd is like
you smell it.
They
smell
text
the
you.
sulfur.
You can sniff
They
it.
text you.
They airdrop a little alien head emoji or whatever into the area, and then they dip.
Well, let's see. Alien encounter levels. So, close encounter of the 1st kind is visual sighting. 2nd kind is there's a physical effect, so it could be interference with an electronic device, some sort of physiological or physical effect on the environment. And then 3rd kind is that an animated entity is present and they seem to be occupants or pilots of a UFO. So I don't know, maybe it doesn't qualify for 3rd kind because he didn't see any aliens. I mean, they were, if you believe the alien explanation, they were present. They're implicit, but not, he doesn't have any kind of visual contact with them.
I kind of feel like he brought a waffle iron out into the woods and got drunk and then tripped and fell on the waffle iron. And then he had to tell people something. Well,
Okay, so
it's like an old school, it's like, whatever, a griddle you put over like a campfire or something,
With dots?
Yeah, I don't know, like a little iron sheet or like with a raised pattern on it,
It does kind of look like if you burn someone with the bottom of a muffin tray, but much smaller.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
he was making mini muffins.
Maybe he was making maybe he was making mini muffins in the woods and he was wasted and he tripped and he's like, well, I could tell everybody that I got wasted in the woods and hurt myself real bad, or I can tell everybody that I saw an alien and it shot me with gas or something.
Dylan, what would you choose?
I would probably just be honest about it. But I feel like that would, if I came home with a story about aliens and people started to pay attention to it, I would be very worried, and I'd have to, the lie would get more elaborate, and I'd have to talk to the news, and then people long after I'm dead would make a podcast about it, and I don't want nobody's making a podcast about a guy in the 60s who tripped on a waffle iron while he was drunk, So I think I'd go with the humble. Not humble, just the, less...
Honest.
It just seems like a lot of hassle, to try to pull this story off.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a famous skeptic whose name I don't remember because, fuck him, who his theory is Mahalik got drunk in the woods and got burned by accident, was totally wasted, and then made up this crazy story. And part of his motive for making up the story was to keep people away from his, like, cool prospecting spot, which makes no sense because
he's looking for quartz.
Well, one, because, what he's looking for is not something particularly valuable, but also because saying that an alien did it is not a good way to keep people away from the spot.
Yeah, that is true.
People there.
That's a good point.
Right. I mean, maybe part one of his explanation, like, oh, this guy was, like, wasted and he got embarrassed and then he, like, made up this whole thing. But that doesn't really explain how sick he was.
Yeah.
I also read a report from the Mounties.
Yeah.
That it's done a couple months after, I think, the event happened. Most of the report is about them going back and trying to find the burn marks, which Stefan did do. He said, like, me and my friend went back. We found this burnt out circle. Then later when they went back with the Mounties, they couldn't really find it again. But part of the investigation was also about whether or not there was any sort of provable, whether or not he was drunk, basically. So they like stayed at this motel the night before. Everyone who encountered him kind of in the period leading up to it, the night leading up to it, and then after said there's no evidence of alcohol. There's one guy who said, oh, he had a beer the night before, I served him a beer or something. But that guy, like, his story was really not reliable in other ways, so you can tell the Mountie is kind of like, fuck this guy, like, I don't really believe what he says.
I will just say, traditionally, the reason people, and historically, typically men, go off into the woods to do silly things, like hiking, hunting, prospecting, camping, is just to get drunk. It's just because it's fun to get drunk outside. That is the entire reason. And I would be very surprised if this man was not a little tipsy.
Maybe he was sick from mini cupcake withdrawal because he had to hide the evidence.
Yeah, maybe he dropped the baking tray. He took it out of the oven, and he had made these beautiful little mini muffins.
Outdoor oven?
No. This happens last night.
Okay.
Right? So he takes it out. You know, he's got his oven mitts, and he just sort of drops it on his tummy, and he's
at the
like,
motel he's staying
The
in.
motel.
yeah, or whatever. And he's like, oof, oh, and then the next day he's like, well, oof. I gotta find a way to cover this up. Better come up with a way. Then he goes out into the woods seeking alien, to provide an alibi for him burning himself. Maybe he's just very embarrassed.
Man seeks alien.
Yeah, could be.
Maybe he was supposed to go swimming later, and he was like, oh, I'm gonna have to explain this.
One potentially kind of confusing but also interesting piece of evidence is that when they went back there to sort of test the area, I think they did eventually locate the general area. They found very high levels of radiation in the ground. There was a vein of radium running naturally under that area.
Maybe he was drunk off the vein of radium.
Yeah, so that is a possible explanation, although it doesn't explain why he was tested negative for radiation poisoning. And maybe they were just, they fucked up the test. It could be a lot of things.
Do you guys remember when I burned my eyebrows off at that party?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
So
Yes.
I burned my eyebrows off, I think, at my 21st birthday party. My eyelashes, and they turned white and little and got really, really tiny.
Was this a weapons party?
I think it was a weapons party. I believe it was a campfire related incident. Where
I don't remember the specifics. I just remember you having weird crusties around your eye.
Yeah, so what happened, if I remember correctly, was I was attempting to make a fire more, I think it was a lighter fluid, and it went very woof, in a way while I was kind of leaning towards it in a way I didn't expect. And I was unscathed except for my eyelashes were tiny and white and crusty for a month. And it reminds me of weird. That. And if there hadn't been witnesses, I probably would have said a similar thing. I would have said, oh, yeah, aliens, rather than, yeah, I got drunk and burned off my eyelashes at a party,
One time when we were teenagers, Izzy went to the dentist and the dentist accidentally drilled into her lip.
What?
And it looked extremely hardcore, like she had been in a fight. And I kept trying to tell her to tell everyone that that's what happened. And maybe she did. I don't know. Do you remember? You're looking at me like you don't remember that this ever happened.
I don't remember that at all.
You had a very sick looking, split lip.
Dude.
It was like a hot look for you.
I had all kinds of tooth problems when I was a kid, so I believe it.
Yeah.
I think I blacked out every dentist appointment I ever had because it was so traumatic. I like that theory, though, Dylan.
That's my theory.
Yeah.
Although this would be really cool. I don't know. I mean, it's cool either way. Like if he had a good time in the woods and it got weird with some fire and some liquor and stuff, good for him. I hope he had a good time, and I hope his buddies believed him. And if he was assaulted by an alien craft that chemically burned him and made him smell like sulfur forever,
and made him throw up a bunch.
It made him throw up a bunch. Yeah. Okay. Can I just say though, like symptoms of alcohol?
I know.
Throwing up a bunch.
It's true.
Motor skills issues, getting hurt, smelling stinky the next day, and then for a while, like your sweat smells weird. I'm just saying there are some similarities.
Well, an interesting thing is that he alleges that his illness was like cyclical. Like he got better, and then about every 3 months, the burns would like flare up again and get bad and painful and like weird looking again. And he would have like a spell of vomiting, and then it would get better, and then it would happen again. And he said it went on for a year afterwards. And that's the thing that really seems like radiation poisoning, where it's like it's working its way out of your body slowly. I couldn't, on this episode of Unsolved Mystery, he doesn't show the burns. You can see the pictures. Someone in the video claims like, oh, if you're lucky, he'll let you like feel them under his skin. Ugh. Like he still has scar tissue, but he didn't show them. And I would be interested to see, like, if this was a recurring thing that happened in his 40s, he would still have scars from that. So I'd like to know if there was like visual evidence afterwards of the burns flaring, like if anyone has pictures of any of those incidents afterwards, or if there are pictures just of the scars.
Right.
So I'd like to know that. He called them his buttons.
That's so like cute.
That. He's wonderful. Like
I like him.
We'll link to the episode because he's just great. He's a real delight of a man. He has exactly the same accent as my great aunt, who is 94 years old and had a Beyonce calendar in her house. Did not know who Beyonce was, just thought she was pretty.
Oh.
Yeah. Totally crazy, but still goes to the hairdresser every week to get her hair set.
Nice.
A wonderful woman. And her most common expression is, "Oh, Yezu," which is, "Oh, Jesus."
Wow.
Okay, so eventually, Izzy, did you understand the part about these weird-ass bars? Silver bars they found at the site?
Yes, so they found machine-made metal that tested positive for radiation.
They look like little cat shits.
Ew.
So they returned to the area after the investigation, and there was a clearing that had been burned out. And then in the center of that, they just, like, dug a little. I think they used, like, a metal detector or something to look for any evidence that the ship had been there. And they dug up these 2 or 3 metal bars that they looked like silver, but they didn't have silver compounds. They were radioactive.
Very weird. Some people think that those were planted later to like lend credence to the theory, possibly like not even by Stefan, but maybe by just like someone who wanted to cause chaos and
someone like us.
Someone like us,
right.
Yeah. To his credit, Stefan never believed it was aliens. His entire life, he's dead now, but his entire life he maintained that it was probably
Yankee
a
boys.
government.
Yankee
boys. He thought it was those Yankee boys. So, I mean, that to me is interesting, that like if you're going to concoct an elaborate lie to cover for being like a drunk fool in the woods, that you'd be like, I don't even know if I believe it. Either he's a very good liar who understands that like that kind of skepticism is like a intelligent release valve for like people not believing you, or he is not lying, at least not to his own knowledge,
Sarah, what do you think?
There's a lot of hot talk these days about, okay, well, UFOs just means unidentified. It doesn't mean extraterrestrial. I definitely do believe in aliens. I don't know that I believe in like alien visitations. If I did, I don't think that they would look like how we imagine them to look. Like, why would an alien look like what somebody in the 40s or 30s like decided an alien would look like,
Do you think they'd be more or less sexy?
More. But because they would be like sylph-like and difficult to understand, and like
I bet they'd be like really gross, but in a kind of cool way. Because like there's no like they wouldn't necessarily be like carbon based. Like they might just be like an ammonia sludge with tentacles.
Right.
Oh,
but there's something a little sexy about something you can't fully like they're like elusive and they're always slipping out of your hands.
I like the Ender's Game conceit of an alien that it's just like a lot of bugs with a consciousness that they share.
I like that too.
Like a Borg.
It might have been, maybe they hit him with Star Trek radiation. I was just thinking, because Star Trek, they make up a lot of different types of radiation that aren't real sometimes, particularly in the newer stuff. Maybe it's some kind of, cool Star Trek radiation we can't scan for. But yeah, the thing about the UFO sightings and stuff, like, it's like, motive. I question motive. Why do they care? Why are they burning people, sucking people up into their cigarette hump ships and sexually molesting them and stuff? Or whatever. Yeah,
none of that really tracks to me either.
I do wonder about that whole genre of like abductions and whether that's like some just like weird, I don't know, like weird guy fantasy shit. I don't know. It's like,
it seems a little sexual. Like that book Communion. Yeah. I remember our friend Marissa describing that book to us and being like, this sounds like somebody's like sex thing.
Yeah, it's like they took me and they put a tube in my butt and then I woke up in my bed. It's like, well, okay.
All right, well.
All right, Gary.
Which we actually have a call that is
very related.
Very related.
All right, just to close up Falcon Lake, the Royal Canadian Mint. This is extremely cool. Also part of our Canadian apology tour, acknowledging something extremely cool that Canada did. They made a series of commemorative coins about unexplained Canadian events. And they're using the word coin very loosely because this one is like shaped like a guitar pick.
Whoa.
Some of the other ones in the series, most of them are like rectangles. They're like weird chips, but they're made by the Mint. This is a $20 coin.
Wait, it's
extremely cool.
You can use it? It's currency?
I don't really understand how commemorative coins work.
Yeah.
Dylan, this seems like your area.
No, sorry. I mean, if it's like the ones in the United States, you can use it, but like would
people actually take it?
I don't know. I mean, it's like legally it is currency. Sometimes it's not currency. Like, like sometimes it's like, but if it has like a dollar amount on it, it is usually legal currency. It's just like, it's like you would never use it because it's like, you're buying like a solid gold coin or whatever from the US Mint with like a commemorative eagle on it or whatever. Also, yeah.
The whole idea is that they appreciate in value over time, right? So you wouldn't want to spend it.
Like generally the commemorative coins, like the actual like metal in them also is worth way more than the the US gold coins or whatever have like $5 on them or something like that. And they're like worth like $95 in metal. And you buy them for like that much money. They're just not for that. But it's cool that the Canadians do get weird with it. I appreciate that because the US ones are all like, it's the Statue of Liberty holding a flag, and then it's George Washington and he's got an eagle on his shoulder, and it's just
not only does this one have a UFO on it and it's shaped like a guitar pick, but it also fucking glows in the dark.
What?
Oh, that's cool as hell.
Dude, we need to step it up in this country.
I know. It's very cool. I love also that the US government would be like, yeah, let's talk about the spooky shit we did.
Right?
Or that someone did to us. Arguable.
Crazy.
All right, so that's Falcon Lake.
Yeah.
A good one. Thank you to Power listener Bethany for suggesting it to us.
Thank you, Bethany.
Thank you, Bethany.
A real rip-roaring good time. I'm going to try to share my screen and see if I can just play these calls so we can all hear them at once.
Man, I was like 14, 15. I was living out Citrus Heights, California. It's a little town outside Sacramento, California. And I'm sitting out by the pool, and I'm looking up in the sky, and I start to see what looked like a satellite but bigger. And then I pointed it out to my dad, and he looked at it too. And he said, oh, that's probably a plane. And then it started kind of doing circles and got bigger and smaller. And I'm from a pretty, fundamental household where none of the type of alien demon nonsense was going to get past my dad. But even he was looking at it being like, isn't that crazy? And we both kind of agreed it was probably like maybe like a crazy Navy test or something. But we saw something up in the sky just fucking moving around and dancing around like crazy. That was clearly like up in space. You know what I mean? Like it was in space, just doing stuff visibly. I don't know. I'm not a big scientist.
Very good. Great call. Thank you for calling in. Sounds like aliens to me. No, that really actually sounds more like the government kind of UFO,
Yeah,
if
that
I had
sounds
to
wild.
guess.
But also, yeah, that's the thing. It's hard to tell now. The technology's so freaking good. Because like the whole thing is always like, oh, they stopped midair and then they changed directions, and that was a big deal in the past. And now I'm like, I don't know what they can do.
Yeah, planes can probably do that now.
Yeah, drones
Weird ass.
and stuff. Weird ass.
Nice. Okay, play the horny one.
Thanks for calling in, caller.
What is this? I was told this is a UFO story podcast. I just had a UFO story and wanted to share. So I was out in Arkansas wilderness, just camping as one does. And I looked up in the sky, and there was this circle of lights, and before I knew it, I was sucked up into the air. And then the next thing I knew, I was restrained in a chair, and this tentacle monster was just inserting his tentacles into all of my orifices at once. And to make a long story short, I've never had an orgasm like that since, and I've been just chasing that dragon, and I was hoping to hear from anybody else that might have a similar experience.
If you have a similar experience, please call in.
Oh, yeah, please.
And let this person know they're not alone. It sounds like maybe they've been chasing the dragon for a long time. And if you have a way to help,
yeah.
Please share it.
And I imagine that's a difficult dragon to chase, I mean,
Yeah.
How do you scratch that itch again, right?
Yeah, it might kind of sexually ruin you.
Right, yeah.
To get probed.
If this person is sincere, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
It doesn't sound like they're sorry they're happy.
Well, I don't know. Well, I mean, it just sounds really complicated, and I hope that
there's a lot to unpack.
I hope that they're able to process that experience. Like, I hope that they've been able to speak to somebody about it if they want, and I hope that I don't know. I hope that they're able to find a balance in life that lets them kind of move on, or at least live with this. Live through
Very
this.
well said.
Like really affirming, Dylan.
Live through this.
Live through this?
Live through this.
Live through this. Courtney.
That's right.
Courtney.
Courtney's been making memes lately. They're fucking A1.
Oh, excellent.
Great stuff.
Steak sauce.
Okay, friend of the pod, former guest and co-host of our brother pod, It's a Beautiful Day in the Gulch, Bev, has called in with a great UFO story. On their Patreon, they have a Patreon episode where Bev goes into great detail about this same story. So if you like what you hear and you want to hear more of it, you should subscribe to the It's a Beautiful Day in the Gulch Patreon.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Alex from Bloomington, and I have a UFO experience, a recent one from here, a local one. I didn't see the UFO, but I did see a guy who saw a UFO. And the story's like this. The UPS guy at my work was quitting, so we got a new guy to come, and he was really late at the end of the day, and I was like, I'm gonna hate this guy. He's coming late. But when he finally showed up, he said, I'm sorry I'm late. I just saw a UFO. And I was like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. And he said, it was a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago now, on Rogers and 7th. He said there was a bunch of people standing around looking up where he was delivering packages. And there was just this thing in the air, spinning, and he said it was kind of L-shaped. And he said he didn't know what it was. He said it was the most crazy thing he's ever seen. And I was like, well, how do you know it wasn't a drone, somebody's personal drone or something like that? And he said it was the size of his UPS truck. Then I was like, well, did you get a picture or anything? And he's like, yeah, I have a video. And he showed me this video on his phone. But it's the perspective is hard to see, but I could clearly see something that looked maybe a camera, a SLR spinning in the sky or something.
Whoa.
And, or maybe something L-shaped. It was just there was I could see clearly the spinning object. And I was like, yo, send me that video. And then he didn't send me the video. And then he never showed up to work again. Like I didn't see him again ask him again for the video. And after work, I walked around and I walked around my neighborhood where this allegedly happened, and I asked a bunch of people if they saw a UFO on the street. And everyone just laughs and looked at me like I was crazy. But allegedly, according to this guy, there was a bunch of witnesses to this. And I looked on Reddit. It wasn't on Reddit. I haven't seen the guy since. I've only talked to a bunch of people about it, and they think I'm crazy. But I've seen the video, and I've seen the guy.
Whoa.
And there's a part 2.
Oh.
He wraps it all up.
Sorry my message was so long. I got a little worked up. But, so long story short, I didn't see the guy again until a few weeks later. I just saw him walking down the street in just his UPS clothes with no truck, no packages. He's wearing sunglasses. I'm driving down 2nd Street, and we make eye contact, and he nods at me. And then just continues to walk down the road like Terminator or something. It was like pretty weird. And I still haven't seen him yet, but I'm trying to get my hands on this video, and if I can get it, then I'll send it to you guys. And that's like my closest I've come to seeing a UFO. Wow. A guy who's seen a UFO. Alright, I'm sorry if it's too long. See you later.
Wow.
Wow.
Amazing. Wow. If Bev gets his hands on that video, we will surely make our listeners aware.
Yeah. Well, if Bev gets his hands on that video, he's going to be in the next Tom DeLonge documentary. I mean, dang.
Yeah.
Sounds like
could be.
And here's the thing. I know I've been a skeptic this whole episode, but you know who I believe more than anyone in the world?
Bev?
Bev. I trust Alex. I don't know.
Yeah,
you know,
but here's the thing. Do you trust the UPS guy?
I mean, yeah, I do. You know what? You know, they work hard. They deliver those packages, you know. They do stuff sometimes at a cheaper rate for heavier stuff than USPS. And you know, much love to USPS, of course. USPS are literal heroes.
Oh, come on.
Like way
Relax.
better than teachers. Way better than teachers. Teachers are like, oh no, I only make like $50K and I have the whole summer off. Boo hoo. Anyway.
We are like that. Yeah.
Like postal carriers are like literally the best. Anyway. But yeah, I trust Bev, and I don't know, that's wild.
Here's the thing. If you were really late to come get somebody's packages and you could tell they were kind of pissed, a really great way to make someone not be mad at you would be to say, oh, I'm sorry, I just saw a UFO.
But
like,
he had a video.
Yeah, but he had the video to back it up.
That's true.
You think he made that video and staged it to give himself
he was
an
like,
excuse?
oh god, I'm so late. Making a fake video.
Yeah.
It won't hurt.
Hold on, get your drone.
Okay.
Let's tape some cardboard to it. Spray paint it black.
But
it would
maybe
take longer.
Right, but maybe he just like filmed a bird.
I don't
Alex
know.
would have said it was a bird.
They go bird watching on Gulch all the time. He would know
That's
a
true.
bird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He would
Alex would
know.
know a bird if he saw one.
I'm not trying to impugn Bev here. I'm just,
How
I'm
dare
just
you.
asking questions.
Yeah, that's so rude
You
to
make me
Alex,
sick.
Sarah.
Yeah, I'm very fucking sorry.
God.
No, I would love for this to be true because the idea of a UFO sighting in Bloomington is like the most exciting thing I can possibly imagine.
Yeah.
In my, 7th Street is like the street I grew up on. That's my fucking area. I love the idea of some spooky stuff happening right there.
Do you think the Men in Black got to him? Like the UPS guy?
Not Bev.
No, but
yeah,
like
maybe.
Do you think like Will Smith showed up and like flashed everybody,
Click
and
the
that's
pen.
why he was wearing the sunglasses, and he saw Alex on the street, right? And he kind of nodded because he was like, "Who's that? I know that guy." Because that's what you do in Bloomington when you see someone that you kind of remember, but you don't really, or you know who they are, but you don't talk to that person.
You can't figure out why.
Yeah.
And Bev said the guy has not been back since, and he asked another one of his coworkers about it, or the UPS coworkers, and that guy was like, "Oh, that guy doesn't lie. Like, he's not making it up."
Dude,
So.
Will Smith took the memory flasher thing to West 7th Street and zapped everybody.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There could have been a zapping incident.
And that's why the neighbors were all like,
yeah, what? Aliens?
oh my God. The government just scrubbed our hometown.
Yeah.
Amazing and horrific.
Yeah. Troubling.
Yeah.
Raises a lot of troubling questions.
Really does.
All right, that concludes the UFO portion of this episode. If you have anything extraterrestrial, please call in. We would love to play more
or
UFO
supernatural.
calls.
You saw a ghost, you felt a demonic presence in the room next to you.
Something a little more grounded in reality than UFOs. Like, if you saw a ghost or a Bigfoot or a Mothman.
UFOs he can't accept, but ghosts, any day.
Ghosts, absolutely.
Maybe you saw the dog man in the graveyard or you saw the Milwaukee Lake Man.
Yeah, if you saw the Milwaukee Lake Man, if you saw Skin Dog.
Yeah.
Anything like that.
The Tonic Man,
ghosts,
if the Tonic Man's been around.
If the Tonic Man's back.
Yeah.
He's a...
We'll have to do a whole episode about the Tonic Man. I don't think we've talked about it on the show before, but I won't even get into it because I'm going to spiral if I do.
If you know the Tonic Man, you know the Tonic Man.
Yeah, but we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it soon.
Okay, so final portion of this week's episode. We were promised by Dylan a little mention of some cruise ship industry news. What's going on in the world of cruising, Dylan?
That's right, Sarah. Yeah, and they said everybody should pick a UFO sighting to research, and I said, no. I said, let's talk about cruise ships because this is what really these are real. These are real UFOs. Yeah, these are the real guys.
Identified floating objects.
And it's funny. I was talking to Emma about this earlier, and I was talking about it, and I was like, oh, I was supposed to do a UFO, I guess, but I'm going to do cruise ships. And Emma made a very good point, which was to the fish in the ocean, a cruise ship is very much an unidentified flying object in their sky.
Yeah.
So
extremely astute.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you think about a fish's perspective once in a while?
You pig. Anyway.
This is a very...
Fucking pig.
You fucking pig.
Sapiocentric podcast.
That's right. It is.
I'm calling us in for sapiocentrism.
Fucking pig.
Pigs.
What about the
fucking pigs?
All right. So I mean, but anyway, without further ado, this is cruise ship industry news, and now we'll do the theme song. Can you guys clap slowly for me, please?
Yeah.
In unison.
Oh.
100 beats per minute. 80 beats per minute. All right. Cruise ship industry news. This is cruise ship industry news. Cruise ship industry news. Cruise ship industry news. All right. Welcome to Cruise Ship Industry News, everybody. This is a segment of Bimbo Summit that I just can't stop thinking about the cruise ships and their industries and the news involved. And who knows? Am I going to get a spin-off show on the network? We'll find out. Is this going to be a viral hit? Let's find out. All right. So let's talk about cruise ships. Obviously, COVID is over now and everything is exactly fine. And, but we like to just move on, right? Oh, the Great American Reunion, says the New York Times, says Michael Barbaro.
I fucking hate him.
We hate him.
Yeah, we hate
Enemy
him.
of the pod.
Enemy of the pod, Michael Barbaro, which I just made up that he said that was the title of the headline. But yeah, so as we can just move on with our lives, right? Sure. But can we forget the damage that has been done? The suffering of the cruise ship industry throughout this last year and some months. I don't think so.
Sure.
So, obviously, all cruising was forbidden. The CDC, issued in March of 2020 what is called a no sail order, saying
no sailing.
which is exactly what it sounds like. You can't sail. You can't do it. You stay in your port. You wear your mask. Right.
Yeah.
This was the tyranny of this went on for a long time, and I don't want to get into the politics of it, but so all these cruise ships were grounded. These companies were, these things need to be maintained. You gotta. This is just enormously expensive. They had no revenue stream, and the no sail order was changed in October of last year to a conditional sail order, but the conditions were like, I don't know. You don't have a bunch of people on a big cruise ship. So it still didn't really help any of our friends in the cruise ship industry. Now, currently, Currently, there is one cruise ship operating. It is it's a Royal Caribbean International ship. It sails out of Singapore.
Why aren't you calling the ship by she, her pronouns?
Oh,
I thought
I'm sorry.
All ships used she, her pronouns.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, that's kind of a outdated idea a little bit, Sarah. That's a little bit.
Yeah, it's 2021. So.
Sorry, am I being trad again with my boat?
Yeah, you are. You're being a little bit.
Ships are gender neutral.
Close-minded.
You bigot.
Yeah.
You dirty pig.
Fucking
What did we say
pig,
earlier? You fucking pig.
Fucking pig.
But anyway, there's only one active cruise right now. It is one boat sailing out of Singapore. They don't go anywhere. They're limited capacity. You go to Singapore and you get on this boat and they go out into the ocean for 2 days. They don't go anywhere and then they just go back to Singapore. And that's the only way that cruising currently happens in the world.
Holy shit, you're actually holding some notes.
Oh, yeah. I have a lot of notes. So that is all about to change, which is really exciting. The CDC just granted approval for cruising to resume in the U.S. from normal ports starting June 26th. So book your tickets. I think they granted, I believe, Celebrity Cruise Lines, and I think Carnival is about to get the green light. The caveat is that you need to be vaccinated and you need to provide proof of that vaccination. However, sounds great, right?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Have our permits cleared?
Your cruise permits?
For the Bimbo Summit cruise?
See, here's the thing. I'm partial to princess cruises. I imagine, I could do Royal Norwegian. Carnival is just sort of a shit show. I don't know. I love Carnival. No, don't get me wrong, Carnival. I love Carnival. It's just like, I think we should talk more about like what we're looking for. Like, what do we want? Are we old people? Are we buffet centric? Do we want a cool nightclub? Do we want other teens on the boat with us? I think we because I mean each of these cruise lines has advantages and disadvantages. Do we want Italian elegance?
No.
Oh my god! I want Italian elegance and other teens.
So okay, yeah, that's the thing is that if you want other teens, we're gonna have to go like Disney cruises or Carnival cruises or Royal Norwegian's pretty good too. For like. I would say for like our age bracket, I would say Royal Norwegian would probably be a good fit.
Our age 13 to 19.
Oh no, that would be Disney cruises, yeah. But anyway, so
okay, what was your however? You
sorry.
Sorry, you guys really derailed this. I'm trying to get noticed here. I'm trying to get my own show. So please, Colin, can you cut this out?
No, just kidding. No, don't cut it out.
All right. So anyway, the CDC granted conditional permission to cruise out of to normal ports just in time for summer, right? Just in time for the season. All passengers need to provide proof that they are vaccinated. The problem is that the two biggest cruise ports in the United States are Miami and Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Oh. The governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, upon hearing this news, issued an executive order prohibiting all businesses from requiring proof of vaccination from customers. So Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, is saying, no, you can't make these people get vaccinated before they get on a gigantic boat with 5,000 other people in close quarters. You can't do it. I won't let you.
And you can't
Mark
leave.
of the beast, he says. Yeah, I thought you'd like that. But yeah, so
I do.
Ron DeSantis single-handedly is ruining America. Ron DeSantis is trying his hardest to ruin summertime and vacation. He's not a man of the people because he can fly to Monaco and do whatever he wants. But you know
he
what?
He looks like an elephant ear.
He is an awful man who hates the cruise ship industry, the good people of the cruise world. And he doesn't want you to go on vacation, okay? He doesn't want you to be able to just drop $500 and then like go to, some privately owned adjacent to the Bahamas island that Carnival owns or whatever. He doesn't want that for you because he knows he doesn't care. He can go to Rome whenever he wants. He can go highfalutin with his cigars and his martinis wherever he wants in the world. And he doesn't care about you. He doesn't care that you've only got like $600 to buy a couple tickets to cruise, a cheap cruise with, and go, watch.
Would you say he's gatekeeping Italian elegance?
He is gatekeeping Italian elegance. Yeah, so like especially like my heart goes out to like the Costa cruise Costa Cruise Lines, the Italian line. And they do great stuff. I've been on a Costa Atlantica, actually. It was my first ever cruise, and I have fond memories of it, although I did immediately get a stomach flu virus and throw up.
That's like my worst nightmare.
Oh, it was really, really awful. I was like 12, and I the first day was fun, and then I felt so sick I had trouble leaving the cabin at all. But that was the first time I ever heard Rage Against the Machine was on there. They had a fake MTV station, like a closed circuit on ship MTV station that played like 10 videos. It was the same 10 videos in the same order, and one of them was I think Killing in the Name. Anyway,
oh my god,
that's pretty sick.
You can cut basically all of this entire segment.
No,
if you want to.
No,
so,
keep
perfect.
So Ron DeSantis thinks he's the king of Fort Lauderdale. he thinks he can do anything he wants. He thinks he can kill your summer just because he has money and you don't, and he's a tyrant. He's killing the cruise ship industry. And I have a little message for Ron DeSantis here, and I guess it's not just I know that this has come across as a political attack. It's just very frustrating. It's kind of the only political issue that I'm interested in is the health and
cruise rights. Yeah,
cruise rights. But I'd like to acknowledge just all the hardships that these companies and these boats have gone through during this time, and I want Ron especially to listen to this part. This is a list of ships that have been decommissioned and scrapped during the COVID-19 pandemic. The CMV Astor, nay, the Fyodor Dostoevsky.
What?
Yeah, nay, as in maiden name Fyodor
right.
Dostoevsky. Yeah. I don't know why they... Anyway. The CMV Astoria, the MS Black Watch, the MS Boadicea, the Carnival Fantasy, the Carnival Fascination, the Carnival Imagination, the Carnival Inspiration.
Do they all run?
The CMV Columbus. The Costa
Dylan is ceremonially
Victoria,
flipping a page.
The Grand Celebration, the Celebrity Horizon, the Carnica, nay, the Crown Princess, CMV Magellan, the CMV Marco Polo, Morella Celebration, Morella Dream, the Royal Caribbean Monarch, the Ocean Dream, nay, the Tropicale, Pacific Dawn, nay, Regal Princess, and the Royal Caribbean Sovereign. So that's just some of the names of boats that we've lost due to this horrible crisis. And
very troubling.
I don't even know. There's probably more. Some of these companies don't disclose the loss of boats all the time. It takes a while for the news to come out, but this is what we know now. In the wake of this awful virus, that we've lost those fine boats, and also most of them. I mean, no older than 30. Most of these boats.
Tragic, life cut short.
The Carnival.
That's just not right.
The Carnival boats specifically, I believe, were commissioned in 1995, so they're young. They're
so young.
So I just want Ron
about
to
as old
hear
as
this.
me, a teen.
That's right. Same here. Yeah, but I just wanted Ron and those who have dismissed the cruise industry as some kind of bloated vacation, whale killing, earth polluting, bad thing to listen to the names of those boats and just really consider your privilege. Your privilege and just for the rest of you, keep those boats in your heart. Keep them in your heart.
We will. And we're sorry to end this episode on such a tragic and sad note.
Yeah, sorry. I just got really, I don't know. Yeah.
I know it was hard for you, Dylan, so thank you. Thank you
Sorry,
for that.
I just feel like I don't have an outlet sometimes to get all that stuff out. But thank you so much.
This is a safe space.
Thank you.
Dylan, do you want to do a spiel?
About the Patreon?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We got this awesome Patreon. We're called Bimbo Summit, and it's It's a Patreon where you can, there's different tiers if you're not familiar, and you can pay a little bit of money to be a subscriber. You can pay like a ton of money if you want.
None of the options are that expensive.
Crazy expensive amount of money. I mean, it's nuts. I don't know.
I think you can choose how much you
Yes.
give because recently someone gave $666 a month.
That's amazing.
Pretty
and
cool.
Thank you to that person. But so it's, I don't know, it's cool. We do some exclusive episodes that are up there. We just
Izzy will send you some very sexy mail.
Yes, that's right. Izzy sends sexy mail, including a really, really sick sticker of Paris Hilton operating a vintage radio that I recently saw around. And I don't know. We released another Patreon exclusive, the Zoomers versus Millennials in the format of a trial, featuring Izzy's teen brother, Marcellus.
We can do another one with Liam, Dylan's teen brother.
We could. It would be a very different episode, but yeah. Yeah.
Liam's a little more monosyllabic than
Liam's like
than Mars.
Well, Liam's just, Mars is a little more wild style. Mars is a little more Zoomer. Liam's very like, what do you plan on doing for a career? And I'm like, okay, you don't do that to me. You're a child. Yeah.
All right, fellow teens.
All right, but yeah. Sorry I called you a child, Liam, if you're listening to this. You're not a child. You're smart.
And even though the gods are crazy.
Even though the stars are blind.
Baby, let them cruise boats go. Let them out there. Let's get out there. I want to go to Grand Cayman. Let's do this. Come
That's
on,
right.
Ron.
Let's do this.
Let them boats out, Ron.